Check 1 2 3. Oh my goodness. All right, finally you can hear me. Hi everybody, I'm sorry to be like 15 minutes late, and I don't know why one of our microphone just stopped working, and that's why I had to change a new one, and that was why I was 15 minutes late. Hi, I hope that is working now. Hey, I thank you for super chat. Hey Gio, what's everyone doing for Turtle Island Catastrophe Remembrance Day? Well, just I mean true. Hey EJ, actually I'm so sorry, but can you tell me a brief history of the July 4th day?
It's the day they signed the Declaration of Independence, but not really, because some of them signed it.
17 something, right?
July 4th, 1776.
All right, okay. Got it now.
It's kind of a big bullshit. It's just as bullshit as everything else about America. They didn't even finish it signing it till like weeks later. I don't know.
All right. So
propaganda.
Today, since today is your time is July 4th, right? Let's talk about the Independence Day, the Revolution, and how Ho Chi Minh talked about the American Revolution. It's pretty relevant, right? All right, so let me move this camera up a little bit. Sorry, people. Okay, hope you can see my face better. Not really. All right, there we go. Better. All right, better. Okay, everybody. Oh, thank you. My hair is looking great today. Oh, thank you. Actually, this morning is a rare time that I comb my hair. So that's why my hair looks good, right, EJ? So your advice is right. We need to comb your hair every day. I am so not like girly, quote unquote, because I don't know how to take care of myself. I don't even usually comb my hair. Sorry, people. Oh my gosh, let me move this thing here because cover my keyboard. All right. I am very excited to be here today, and also at the same time, how do I share this information to you? I also want to do quick little fundraiser for my Communist Youth Union group, because there was something like just happened that we didn't know, we didn't expect, and it just raised the price a little bit, because like we bought cement to make cement road and the playground for children in the remote area on the mountain in this trip, and the cement price just got raised really high because the person there, because we asked a local man who have asked the price for us, and he got the price wrong, and till the last moment we got the price, like the price is really way up than we prepare for it. So now we are lacking around, oh, can you send me the gift bottle link?
Yes.
Thank you. And how much are we raising for?
You tell me. You talk to the person.
I want to do it about 300.
You want $300 more?
Yes, 300.
All right. Well, it's at $875 last I checked. So
yeah, I know.
We need to get it up to $1175, I guess.
Yes.
Did I math that properly?
Yes.
It's gonna be easier for you to get the gift link. Just go to my browser.
Okay.
Oh, you're not supposed to be in that browser, FYI. I'm just saying, in the future, you're supposed to do the streaming account, not my account. Well, just let me do it.
Okay, so price for cement is from 1.1 million for a ton. That what they said to us, because the local guy got the price really wrong from the start, and we didn't know better. Now the actual price is 1.9 million, which is almost double. It was why it's like, we feel so sorry, but we were really desperately need it. I'm sorry, I have to take this phone call too.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that volunteer group just called me on the screen. He said like they feel so sorry, but they need our help really badly, and it would mean a lot to them, if we can help them somehow because they are on the site right now. I should have been on the with them right now to be on the site and give you, the direct like report from it, but because we have an emergency and we need some, little money to cover the surprising amount of, the cement that we didn't expect it before. So I that's why I am here calling for your help right now. And let me share the yeah, there's a link in the description, no, and in the chat right there too. Please check it out and please help if you can. If you cannot donate, it's fine, totally fine. Just please share it to to your on your social media. Hopefully someone can help. Whew, it is tough. It is tough, and they also recording a video saying thank you to us all. They're on the side right now. They just got there, so everybody's in a hurry to set everything up to start the day because we want to finish it as soon as possible. Okay, so here is, let me share the screen setting. Oh no, not setting, it's present, share screen. This, so it should be oh, somebody donated $100. Thank you so much. This means a lot to us. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Some comrade of just donated. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy right now. I hope that we can get up to 1,150. 1,150 is what exactly. I mean, the more the better, because like the more we donate, the more food the team can eat. Because like, here's the thing, we are a team of Communist Youth Union, and most of them are students, and they mostly they eat very simple, like just rice and instant noodle and vegetable, and the vegetable they are donated by the people, on the local people. And we try to spend all the donation money on buying you know cement and rocks and sand and metal, paint, to go help you know paint the kindergarten, build a road and playground to people. We spend as least money as possible on food. So the more you donate, the better food they can eat. And it's very important because they are doing hard work. And thank you so much. Thank you so much to Conrad that just donated. Oh my gosh, it's 985 now. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Here's a group of they just a young 20-year-old student in university, and they just want to share some they have, a little that they have, to the very remote area, remote, like people living in super remote area on the mountain. This is my first actually fundraiser that I'm doing alone. So I'm nervous and also excited at the same time, and I really want to help these students. Yeah, this is just because they all of them are poor, so they could not donate much. What they can donate is their time and their effort and their energy. And I will join them the day after tomorrow. I will join this group, and I will try to record videos as much as possible, and I will make a video, a report about this. And let me check if they sent me the videos yet, because it means a lot to them and they really want to do it as good as possible. Here it is. Yeah, they cleaning the road, making the mud, like, because it's so remote area. So usually when the rain season coming, like they usually like landslide or mud flooding or something, and they have those people like clean the road. And because the road here is mostly just dirt road, and the children just didn't have any playground. They play in the dirt. So it was really horrible like this when it rained a lot and the kids just didn't have a clean place to play and hang out together, and they didn't have like a normal road to walk on. So that's why we went up here and built the road and paint a kindergarten for them. And the local government also helped us a lot by let us borrow a kindergarten so we can sleep on and stay in 10 days for 10 days. And yeah, and I hope that I can join them as soon as possible. We plan to join them the day after tomorrow. Hey, another $10. Thank you so much. Yay. Okay. Thank you, Dinair. Oh, thank you. What's the goal amount? The goal amount is about 1,150. 1,150. So we have about $165 left to raise, and that because like US dollars go a long way in Vietnam. That is why maybe it sounds a little bit for you, but to us it means a lot because a dollar is 23,000 dong in Vietnam, and it means a lot to us poor people, and especially people in a remote area. A dollar goes a long way. So yes, I am very thankful, and thank you so much everybody for your help. And now we will go back to this maybe once every 30 minutes to inform like newcomers in the stream to know about this fundraising campaign. Now let's go to the main topic today, which is the 4th of July. I mean, it's a big great, right? In the 4th of July, and you donate to support people in Vietnam. I mean, Communist Youth Union fundraising campaign to support people in Vietnam. I mean, we want to make a lot of meaning. We want to make at least a meaningful actual 4th of July. Like instead of praising the empire, you're helping actual people who are in need. Yes, $5 more to the big 1K. Exactly, K. Can't wait. Kai. I said Kai, didn't I?
No, you said K.
Oh my goodness. In my head, it was Kai.
Luna cannot say Kai's name right. And that was me for a long time. Now it's Luna.
Yeah. All right, everybody, let's get to the main topic today, which is what did Ho Chi Minh say about revolution? Can you give us the link to the description of the stream? Thank you so much.
I could try.
There's a laptop. Yes.
I mean,
what did Ho Chi Minh say about, revolution? And the American Revolution, and then the French Revolution, and then Russian Revolution. It is very interesting to hear from a perspective of the communist leader of Vietnam about revolution, about American history, right on the day of the July 4th. Let's start this. Stop screen, and now share new screen.
Share window.
Share window, huh?
And
it's this. Okay, everybody, I need to check for the right, how to move to the next page. This, all right, okay. How to check the page of it. I need page 74.
It's an EPUB, so it doesn't have pages. You just have to look for.
Holy smokes, this is great.
I can tell you what words to look for.
Yes.
I tried to get you to set that up before you started streaming.
I can't. I told you I want page 74, and you didn't say anything. I told you.
Control F. What is a revolution?
What is
a revolution? It would also help you to learn how to touch type. There you go. You found it.
Can you shut up? Thank you. It means a lot of you shut up. Okay, what is a revolution by Ho Chi Minh? By the way, shout out to Vijay Brakshad, my really dear comrade with his team that translated, the selected works of Ho Chi Minh. They did a really great job, and keep the spirit of the writing of Ho Chi Minh. And Vijay is also, our comrade who worked in, my translation of the book of the Marxism Leninism curriculum. And you can check it out in banyanhouse.org. But yes, this is the work of Vijay Brakshad on the selected works of Ho Chi Minh. Rashad. Yes.
Is it Ho Chi Minh or Ho Chi Minh?
I mean, it's a Ho Chi Minh.
You keep saying Ho Chi Minh, but I don't know if that's your.
But then when I speak English, my Vietnamese change a little bit. It's really hard to say like, hey everybody, that Ho Chi Minh. I have to stop for half a second. Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah.
All right, okay. I'm annoyed with you today, to be honest. Can you get out of the house somehow? I love you, comrade, partner, lifelong partner, but how you annoyed me today.
No, I was honestly, legitimately asking how it's pronounced because I thought it was Ho Chi Minh, and then you said Ho Chi Minh. I'm serious. It was a legitimate question. I'm not kidding. I wasn't being sarcastic.
Oh my comrade, we hit it.
All right, well then I'm turning it off. Then we got enough money, right? Do we need more?
Can we leave a little bit more so they can eat better food? I mean, they didn't bring anything.
Give them an actual goal so we know what to get to.
Okay, let's say
reasonable?
223 now. I'm so happy, comrades.
Maybe we should keep arguing.
Awesome.
Maybe it's like our argument.
You're right. We argued, so we were so bored, so they rather like donate. Oh my gosh, people! I am speechless. I am so happy right now. Oh my goodness. Okay, my final goal is 1,300.
Okay.
My final goal. If we reach 1,300, I will stop. Oh my goodness. Everybody, I'm so happy right now. I mean, we are.
And look, she's not mad at me anymore, so keep donating.
Everybody, please donate so I will stop being mad at EJ. It's like a rescue EJ mission.
Let's see how much they give me.
Oh my gosh. So this is the fundraising for anybody who doesn't just join the stream. You don't know what we are talking about. I am raising money for the Ho Chi Minh Youth Communion campaign in a very remote area in Quảng Nam province where people there, they didn't have a cement road. They didn't have a playground. Everything was on a dirt road. And they are being there to build a road, to build a library, to paint a very old kindergarten, mostly to serve poor children over there, and to have a playground where the kid can, stop playing on the dirt. I mean, it means
just
a lot.
A link and they can read the whole thing and
yes.
Pictures and everything.
Yes, here's a link. I'm sharing the link again for you. And we are a bit over what the group expected. But because since this is the 4th of July, the Remembrance Day of the Empire, it will mean a lot if you donate to help people in need in Vietnam, the country that was destroyed, bombed to the Stone Age by the USA. And by the way, this area, Chami air area, is a part of the mountain range that was heavily bombed by the USA in the Vietnam War. And these people, they were living in this area for hundreds of years, and their family members used to be a victim in the Vietnam War. And this area was also sprayed by Agent Orange during the Vietnam War too. So it means a lot if you can donate and help them, especially in the day of the July 4th. All right, back to the main topic today. Thank you so much for your donation, everybody. Let's get to the main topic today, which is Ho Chi Minh Revolution and American history. What did Ho Chi Minh say about the history of America? Yes, thank you. All right, let's start. What is a revolution? This is the word of Ho Chi Minh. Not my words, not just The random article, this is the words the article wrote by Ho Chi Minh in the 1920s, right?
1927.
Yes, 1927. What is a revolution? Is Ho Chi Minh's definition of revolution.
The full article is called Revolutionary Path.
Yes, đường cách mệnh in Vietnamese. Revolution is the destruction of the old and its replacement with the new. It is the destruction of the bad and its replacement with the good. For example, Galileo Galilei represents a scientific revolution. In the past, everyone thought that the earth was the center of everything. But thanks to the experience of research, Galileo found that the earth goes around the sun. George Stephenson represent the mechanical revolution. In the past, people only walked or rode on horses. He invented the steam locomotive. Charles Darwin is famous for revolution in biology. In the old days, no one understood the origins of diverse species, but Darwin investigated evolution as nature's creativity. Karl Marx stands for a revolution in economics. He studied capitalism, imperialism, and class struggle, clearly showing their origin, history, current manifestations, and future possibilities. Second, how many kinds of revolutions are there? In the history of political thought, we have identified three kinds of revolution. The first kind, number A, capitalist revolution. B, nationalist revolution. And C, class-based revolution. Examples of the capitalist revolution are the French Revolution in 1789 and the American Revolution for Independence in 1776 against the British, and the Japanese Revolution in 1864. Nationalist revolutions include those such as when Italy evicted the powerful Austrian troops in 1859 or when China reclaimed Manchuria in 1911. A class revolution is, for example, when the Russian workers and peasants evicted their capitalist exploiters and seized power in October 1917. So, according to Ho Chi Minh, there are three kinds of revolution: capitalist revolution with American Revolution as example, nationalist revolution as the Italy Revolution, and then the class revolution is the Russian October Revolution. All right. Number 3, what was the origin of the capitalist revolution? A, the capitalists in the city means the bourgeoisie with factories and manufactured goods. These factories must have skilled workers manufacturing many goods. They must have people to buy and sell these goods, and they must have a means of transportation for the goods. The capitalists in the countryside are the landowners. They want to retain the old feudal property regime where sovereign power belongs to the wealthy. The peasants are treated as if they were buffaloes or pigs, forced to stay in one place to plow the fields. Traders want to move goods without arbitrary taxes and without different tariffs in different currencies in each place. So when they are traveling to and from, traders have to ask permission from the feudal landlords who do everything they can to prevent new businesses and trades. The landlords were obstructing the bourgeoisie was opposed to the landlords, and the two sides were in conflict, which led to the capitalist revolution. Never did the two of them fight against each other more intensively or conspicuously than in America. From 1861 to 1865, the provinces of the North, the bourgeoisie, sent soldiers to fight against the southern provinces, landlords, plantation owners, as if they were two hostile countries. I love this so much, because, you in the USA, Americans, you keep talking about how great it was, especially the MAGA communists who worship Abraham Lincoln and somehow said about the revolution there is somehow like good for the working class, the example for the working class.
Said George Washington is America's Ho Chi Minh.
Yes, George Washington was a fucking American Ho Chi Minh,
Ridiculous.
which is laughable, ridiculous, and this is what Ho Chi Minh talked about the American Revolution.
It's very important to understand that George Washington wanted a revolution specifically for personal gain. He was an adventurist who was trying to maintain slavery, and
yes,
and more than that, he wanted more lands from indigenous people. And it's very well documented that his primary goal in joining the revolution was to accumulate more wealth for himself.
Yes.
Very, very, very different from Ho Chi Minh, who spent decades in horrible conditions, traveling around the world, trying to secure freedom for his people.
Yes.
Just to make that clear.
Continue. What is the origin of the national revolution? A powerful nation robs a weaker one and rules over its people with force, conquering both economic and political rights. The people of those nations have lost their freedom and independence. All they can produce will be claimed by their oppressors. The bourgeois capitalist robs all the produce and the rights of our people. Where there is an enemy, they force our people into the army to die on their behalf, as in the battle among the European powers in 1914 to 1918, the World War I, by the way. The French forced us. The French forced us to join their army and then increase taxes and fees on our people. If we fight and win, they enjoy the benefit and authority. If we lose both our people and our property. In short, the cruel and powerful enslave of others, as France does to the Vietnamese people. When the enslaved masses cannot tolerate this anymore, they are awakened, are unified, and know that they would rather die and live on as slaves.
They'd rather die than live on as slaves.
Yeah, I mean, it's a typo, right? They would rather die than live on. They would rather die than live on as slaves. Oh my gosh, my English is so bad today. I'm sorry. They join forces to chase away the oppressors. This is the national revolution. What is the origin of the class revolution? In the world, there are two classes: capitalists, not working but enjoying all the benefits; workers and farmers, hard working but do not see the fruits of their labor. Consider the Vietnamese workers who work at the Hòn Gai coal mine in shift for 11 hours per day. They work every day from the beginning to the end of the year and are paid only 3 cents a day. 3 cents a day is not enough to pay for their food. It is not enough to clothe themselves. It will not pay for medicine and when they are sick. It will not pay for medicine when they are sick. And it is not even enough to buy a coffin when they die. Whereas owner of the mine never dirties his hands in work, enjoys sumptuous meals, travels to and fro confidently, and takes a profit of millions per year. In 1925, it was VND 17 million. So let's ask, who produced this 17 million VND? The mine owner or the mine workers? Peasants do not even own their plows, but the private plantation occupy all 122,000 acres of arable land in central Vietnam and 150,000 acres in the south, in places where our people did not have enough to eat and sometimes were starving. The private landlords saw rise a profit of nearly 1,000 million quan. Oh yeah, this is the Vietnamese word. I'm sorry. 1,000 million quan francs per year. In 1925, they sold like 911 million quan worth of rice. It's like this is in our country. The same goes for other countries. Workers and peasants cannot stand it anymore.
How much is a quan?
It was so old that I have no clue.
This is a unit of vegetable rice.
Yeah. Quan is French francs. Quan is a money that French colonialists imposed on Vietnamese people. It was a combination between, the feudalist system of currency and with the huge inflation rate of the French colonialism.
So it's a money.
It's a money
not a
curve.
rice unit.
Yeah, it's a money that used to buy rice.
Oh, okay.
It's a currency right there. It is old, even older than my grandpa's year, so I have no clue. We must unite together to drive away the capitalists, as happened in Russia. That is the class revolution. In short, the oppressed class makes a revolution to overthrow the oppressor class. 6. How many stages does the revolution have? The revolution is divided into 2 stages. A. As Vietnam must drive away the French, India must drive away the English, Koreans must drive away the Japanese, the Filipinos must drive away the United States, and China must drive away the imperialists in order to regain for their countries the right to equality and national freedom. That is the national revolution. B. The farmers and workers of every country in the world, uniting all races like brothers and sisters as one family, then destroy all the capitalists in the world, bring happiness to every country and to every people, thus making an equal work for all humanity, making an equal world for all humanity. That is the world revolution. The two paths of revolution are different because the national revolution does not involve discriminating among classes, which means that scholars, peasants, workers, and merchants are unified to fight against the foreign invaders. As for the class or world revolution, the proletariat marches on the front ranks, but the two kinds of revolution are closely related to each other. For example, if the Vietnamese people succeed in revolution, then the French capital is weakened, and weakened French capitalism will make it easier for French workers and peasants to carry out their revolution. And if the French workers and peasants succeed, then the Vietnamese people will more readily win their freedom. The Vietnamese Revolution and the French Revolution must rely upon each other. Now I want to talk a little bit about this and explain about why it is so important to have these 2 steps. 2 stages. Number 1 is national revolution, means that colonized countries like Vietnam, Korea, China, Philippines, and Cambodia, and Laos too, and even Cuba too, to have our own self, determination, freedom, and independence. It is the first stage of having a revolution. The point is that we would do it first, so we gain our independence and self-determination, and at the same time we would weaken capitalism, colonialism, imperialism, and make it easier for you, workers and peasants in those imperialist and capitalist countries to have their own revolution. And after that, we can have the world revolution, class revolution, where the working class rise up and fight for our own rights.
I think it's also important to put this in like strictly dialectical terms, because a conversation that I see people have a lot is like, okay, should we first have the national revolution and then have the socialist revolution, or something like, and then also they'll say, because in the Vietnamese revolution, the petty bourgeoisie assisted the proletarian revolution and that sort of thing. And you have to think about it dialectically. So one thing that Ho Chi Minh says explicitly in this text is the working class has to lead the revolution and be in command of the revolution. And then the other classes, and this is specifically talking about like a colonized people.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to also understand the historical context. This is talking about a colonized people, okay? And specifically talking about Vietnam, really. It's very, very specific to Vietnam. So, Ho Chi Minh's not saying first the national revolution, then the workers' revolution. He's saying it has to be a dialectic between the national and the proletarian aspects of the revolution. And there has to be a dialectic between the workers and the other classes, where the workers determine the course of the revolution.
Yes.
The other classes can impact it, primarily in the case of the Vietnam Revolution by like financing it, but they cannot determine it. If the bourgeoisie or the petty bourgeoisie or any other class is allowed to determine the revolution, then it will be just a bourgeois revolution. I mean, they'll take command of it. So
yeah.
I mean, he's pretty specific about it, but if you don't understand dialectics, it's easy to get confused about it.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was important to kind of
exactly. And Ho Chi Minh talk about this intensively. Why, like the colonized people and the people in the colonialist country and imperialist country should, unite together and care for each other and have a revolution in both sides. And that was why I want to talk about this too, because this is a very important piece of, truth about the history of Ho Chi Minh, especially. When Ho Chi Minh was in Paris in early 1920s, he joined the Second International, and at that time, he met Edward Bernstein and Rosa Luxemburg, right? And in many of those meetings of the Second International, Ho Chi Minh raised the colonial question. It means that, like, okay, we want to see the stance of workers and farmers and peasants in colonialist countries on colonial countries like Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And the point is that he wanted them to acknowledge about the revolutionary potential of those colonies of French and of European countries, and want them to support and want them to us to unite, to work together. But sadly, it was only Rosa Luxemburg who was on the side of Ho Chi Minh. Actually, Ho Chi Minh and Rosa Luxemburg met in the many meetings of the Second International, and Rosa Luxemburg did question Ho Chi Minh and interview Ho Chi Minh to explain their thoughts and ideas. But Edward Bernstein, as a leader, one of the leaders of the Second International, didn't agree with that because they were all bourgeois proletariat. Now, this is a term that Marx and Engels talk about it themselves. What is a bourgeois proletariat? The bourgeois proletariat are the proletariat. Even though they are proletariat, they are working class, they are peasants, but since they are living in the capitalist, imperialist, colonialist countries, they receive false consciousness. They do not have a solidarity with colonial nations. They don't care about those oppressed people. All they care about is their own living, their own wealth in their home countries. And since then, they align their benefits with the capitalist class, with the colonialist class in their own home countries. That is what called the bourgeois proletariat. And Edward Bernstein is a very famous example of the bourgeois proletariat. Edward Bernstein, he didn't care about the colonial question raised by Ho Chi Minh, and also before that it was Lenin. They even, did not agree with Rosa Luxemburg, and they even said that it would be okay for the proletariat in colonialist and capitalist country and to go exploit and oppress people in the colonial subjects of their countries, if it means that it would bring wealth to the proletariat in those capitalist countries. They literally said that. That was why Ho Chi Minh was pissed. He was pissed at that. That was why he voted for the Third International. That was why he joined the Third International. And now right after that, he wrote this and expressed his thought about Bernstein. Yes, is Edward Bernstein, the guy who led the Second International and the reason why the Second International failed and collapsed. It was a formation of Third International. This is a Ho Chi Minh stance on how and why proletariat in both colonies and capitalist countries should work together to have revolution. The Second International was even more pathetic than that. They spent all time talking instead of waging an actual revolution. Exactly. I mean, because they are bourgeois proletariat. And sadly, even though this happened 100 years ago, and we thought that we learned some lesson, right? Especially the West. But even to this day, there are so many people call themselves leftists, and all they do is to sit there and just talk and dunking on other people. Especially they love dunking on global South countries. Oh my goodness, I don't want to name any names, but you know what I'm talking about. Those people. Exactly, they're making the same exactly mistake and problem at the Second International in the 1920s. I mean, they did nothing changed. The West didn't learn any lesson. Kai. So the bourgeois proletariat is proletariat that defends the bourgeoisie, or am I misunderstanding? Yes, you're right. The bourgeois proletariat is proletariat that has false consciousness. So they defend the bourgeoisie. They think that their benefits align with the capitalist class, and they do not have any solidarity with the people in the colonies in global South country, and that caused a lot of like the bourgeois proletariat in the USA right now. Instead of listen to and talking to and respecting the global South country, instead of that they dunk on those people. They think that they know better. They think that they can do a better revolution, even though it was us who had a revolution, not them yet, because of the strong chauvinism, racism in their head and false consciousness. Even though they miserable, they being exploited by capitalists in their own country, and we are, as much as we want them to succeed, they want to dunk on us because of the chauvinism in their head. They think that they know better. They think that they're smarter. They think they can do a better job. Those armchair revolutionists who don't do shit but just go around and dunk on other people. All right, next. Who are the revolutionaries? Because revolution is born of oppression. Whoever is most severely oppressed will be more resolute. Previously, the bourgeoisie was oppressed under feudalism, so they had their revolution. Now, capitalism is oppressing the workers and farmers in turn. So the workers and farmers are the leading force of the revolution. Because workers and farmers are more heavily oppressed. Because workers and farmers are mass. Therefore, they possess the greatest potential strength because they are barefoot already. They have nothing. You have nothing to lose but your chain, the famous saying of Marx. And so if defeated, they would only lose one miserable life. If they win, they will have the whole world. For this reason, workers and farmers are the fearless heart of the revolution, while the students, small merchants, and the small landowners, though also oppressed, do not suffer as much as the workers and farmers. So these three classes are only the revolutionary friends of the workers and farmers. As I just said before, like Ho Chi Minh said this, especially for the situation in Vietnam. Yeah, we know that the workers and the farmers must be and should be the core leading force of the revolution. But it doesn't mean that we dismiss the role of students, merchants, small landowners, because they also oppress and they have a potential of joining us, but they should never be the leader. No, we should be the leader, the workers and the farmers, and we should have them as allies, and they have to accept us as the leader. Otherwise, they would sabotage the movement, sabotage the revolutionary, and they will join the capitalist class and defend the capitalist class. Okay, number 8. Is the revolution difficult or easy? It is very difficult to reform an old society that has existed for thousands of years. In America, it is a society that has existed for 250 years. But knowing how to do it, knowing how to work together can make it possible. And then it is not difficult. Being easy or difficult all depends upon each individual, and the very determined will make it for certain. But those who want to make a revolution must know how. A. Capitalists and imperialists use religion and culture to fool people. They use the law to bind our beloved people. They use power to scare the masses and take the wealth of our people, and they feed on greed. They make our people fear the word. They make our people fear the word revolutionary. So, the revolutionary task is first to raise the people's consciousness. Oh my gosh, I ring with this so hard. Just look at what's been going on in the USA right now, how all of those people, people who dare to have an uprising to rise up to fight against oppression, they all charge them with like domestic tea terrorists, domestic tea terrorism. It's just really crazy. And they, instead of calling themselves, who by who they are, they calling themselves, they calling those people, like extremists or, violent or something like that. Yes, because the ruling class, they use their soft power to manipulate us, to build class consciousness on our heads, to make us scared of revolution, make us scared of anything remotely even violence. You're like, remember the 2020, the BLM uprising, and like people like looting stores owned by like multi-billionaires, and they called it like violence against property. Exactly the same thing that happened right now in France. I mean, yeah, because they are making you scared of this, scared of our own power, and make us believe it's something that is not who we are. Yeah, it's a domestic Taco Bell. They make us believe that we are domestic Taco Bell, and I mean the working class and the peasant. All right. Next, the masses were miserable and violent. The Vietnamese refused to pay taxes like the enemies in Trung Kỳ, central Vietnam, and in Ha Thành, Hanoi City. They tried poison. In the south, they escaped from jail, but without a plan, without ideology, they will forever fail. So the revolutionary path is to clarify theory and strategy, making it understandable to the masses. Long story short, you need to learn theory and then know how to apply that theory into real life, or else you will be forever losers and failure, and it's gonna be a waste of time and effort and energy and life too, waste of life too. And also at the same time, we have to make theory understandable to the masses, which is what I am doing right now. I'm trying so hard with having my own channel right now to try to make you understand the theory better, especially from a Vietnamese perspective, the perspective that you usually do not get from mainstream media in the West. Now next, C. Because people do not theorize about the situation in the world, do not know how to think strategically, do not have any tactics, they want to do more but do not know what to do, the revolutionary path must understand the movement of the world and the strategies to be presented to the people in the last. Or ordinarily, people are divided into groups. Our people in the south are suspicious of the people of the center, while the center despises the north. These divisions result in weaknesses. Half a pair of chopsticks are not much use. So then, the power of the revolutionary path is our focus, and if we want to focus, we must have a united revolutionary party. Oh my gosh, I cannot relate more than this. Vietnam, the US in 1954, they divide Vietnam into North and South. This is so they can divide us. They divide the North and South against our own will. Nobody voted for it. There was no actual reason for it. That's what they did. They took a parallel and then they call it like the border of the North and South of Vietnam, just like what they did to North and South Korea. North and South Korea is one country. It is Korea. And it was the USA who split it into half, just like what they did to Vietnam. It was them who intentionally did this to divide our people, to make a fake borders, ideology borders between the people, and to confuse you people in the West, to make you somehow think that, it is like our own people who hate ourselves. It's not the fault of the USA or anything. But no, it is totally, absolutely made up by the imperialists who want to divide and conquer us. Like Ho Chi Minh said, half a pair of chopsticks are not much use. And even to this day, there are a lot of articles written by expats, white expats. I hate that word, by the way. By white immigrants wrote about, how the difference between North and South Vietnam, and they cited the most ding dong argument ever, like oh, the taste of the food in the north is different from the taste of food in the south. So a flavor in the north is different from flavor in the south. So oh, there must be some invisible borders difference between north and south. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Everywhere the taste of food is going to be a little bit different because like the weather and the culture and the the available vegetable and spices and that, but it doesn't mean any fucking thing. And the different tastes in food doesn't mean anything different in like in a political sense or ideology or anything like that. They just keep making like really ding dong argument like that to fool you people in the West. It's really BS. Now, next, what are the priorities of a revolution? First of all, we must have a revolutionary party responsible for mobilizing our people at home and making contact with oppressed nations and brutarians abroad. Our revolution will owe its victory to a strong party, just as a boat relies upon a firm hand on the tiller. If the party wants to be steady, there must be unity. Every member of the party must understand, every member must follow Marxist theory. Without ideology, the party would be like a man without wisdom, a boat without a compass. At present, there are many doctrines and theories, but Leninism is the most genuine, firmest, and most revolutionary one. Remember, Ho Chi Minh wrote this in 1927 when Vietnam was not, then when there was not Communist Party of Vietnam. Yeah, no. This is like the before everything. The Communist Party of Vietnam, in like formed in 1930. This is 3 years before that. History of the American Revolution. Now, this is the part that I really want to talk about now. Now, before this, now let's check our donation, our fundraiser to see. Okay, some Conrad just donated. I am so happy right now, Conrad, and hopefully we have about $52 more to go, and that would be it. That would be very happy news, very good news for my comrades in Ho Chi Minh Youth Union. So, yes, hi everybody. I am raising money for a campaign by a Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union students. They are right now. They are up there on the mountain. They are working on a project, on a campaign where they would build cement roads, cement playground, paint kindergarten, and build a library and donate like clothes to poor children in a super very remote area in Quảng Nam province. Quảng Nam province is a province that was heavily bombed and destroyed in the Vietnam War. Those were people, they are all ethnic minorities, they are Cơ Tu people, and they were heavily attacked by the USA. They were sprayed by Agent Orange, and these people come here to help to build a better living condition for the poor children over there. And they all just poor student, 20-year-old student, and since they are all poor, they cannot donate much. All they can donate is their time, their energy, and their effort. So they are currently up there waiting, building that. Okay, they are currently building that, and I did a fundraiser already a few days ago, and we thought that it was like enough for them to cover everything. But the sad news is that the price of cement and sand and rock was really high, and it's even way higher than normal because like it was a super remote area, and it takes a lot of like effort and gasoline and trucks to bring those things high up to the top of mountain like that. So it was way more than we expected. And my goal is to raise up to 1,300. We reached 1,248 already. So just $52 more, and it would be very like a big help for the group over there. And yes, let me oh my goodness, how can I take this? Can I take this? Can I download this video to my save? All right. Here's a surprise for you. Here's a surprise for you. Give me a second. I'm getting this video of hear me use my send it to my Google Drive, I think. All right, I'm uploading this. Can you help me upload this file, babe? It is in my here already. This is it. And I want to upload it on Google Drive so I can show it to people. And also this today is July 4th day. And I mean it would be very meaningful if you donate.
Where's the video?
To people in.
Fine, just show me the video. Don't open. Okay.
You know, on the 4th of July day, you donate your US dollars to help poor people in the remote mountain area in Vietnam. And also at the same time, that I want to tell you that a dollar goes a long way in Vietnam. So even if you can donate a dollar, it would mean a lot to us. And if you can't, it's totally fine. I just like, please go share it around to comrades over there. Hey! That's it. We reached our goal.
All right, I will.
All right.
I'll get the video on your.
Oh my gosh,
screen,
people! I'm so
turn it
happy.
off.
Oh yes. Turn the comrade. Thank you so much. I am so happy right now. This is my first, fundraiser that I'm doing it alone on my channel, and it means a lot. I am so happy, right? Oh, another $50. Oh, I'm so happy right now, people. It will be so happy. And yes, these poor students, they will. I promise you, they will eat good food up there. I will personally bring some like fruits and maybe some good food, some good protein to them, because they, as I said before, they were all poor, and we all have a limited money. So mostly they spend all the money, all the donation they could get to buy stuff, cement, rock, sand, paint, to have the children, and they spend just a little bit of money. It's just a little bit, so much. It was $17 for a person to eat for 10 days. That's what they they charging for. $17 to eat for 10 days. That's how little they eat every day. And this means a lot. They can eat a little bit more now. Thank you, Conrad. Thank you so much. Right on the day of the 4th of July, you donated, and you have a lot of Vietnamese people right now. Thank you, everyone.
All right, turn
Thank
off
you so
payments.
much. Yes. Please turn off the payment.
Right.
Yes. I asked for 1,150, and now it's $200 more than I expected. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy right now. I will inform that group right now so they can be happy right now. Let's see. Let's do it right now. I'm doing the.
You want to see the video?
Yes, I want to see the video. You uploaded it?
No, I've got it on my computer here. So.
Oh yes, share.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Ready? Can you hear that?
Okay. Yes. I'm translating now.
He's still talking.
So they just sent this to me like 2 minutes ago, and mostly they talk like that. I would make the
I'm doing it.
I will make the subtitles on it and post it on the fundraising, campaign. But instead, like they introduce who they are. They are students, in this hand-in-hand group, belong to the, Ho Chi Minh Communist Union, and they are doing a campaign in the village number 3 in Cha Mai area in Quảng Nam province, and they are doing building the road for people, and then they are very much thankful and happy for all the help and all the donation of us us, we are the biggest donor of this group. And I am very, very, very happy. They can't hear anything. There was no sound in that video.
I don't know why, but
somehow
you told them what they said, so.
Yes, so I mean, people, I will post that video on Twitter, on Give Butter, and on the YouTube community. So it's just like a sneak review of it. But anyway, I just translated exactly what they said. So yeah. Oh, the good morning. Yeah, you hear sound, but very, very quiet. But I mean, actually, anyway, they speak Vietnamese, so of course you it's not like that necessary to hear what they say. And I will again make a video of it. And I am calling themselves right now. Calling them
You
right.
want to mute it until they know you're on air.
Yeah.
Luna,
Ơi.
mute your stream so they know that they're on stream. You don't want to surprise them.
Yes.
Chào tất cả mọi người.
Hello
Thay
everybody.
mặt nhóm Hen thì em xin cảm ơn sự ủng hộ của tất cả mọi người.
On behalf of the group, thank you very, very much. Okay.
Dạ, em cảm ơn ạ.
Ok, cảm ơn em nha, chị cung máy đi nha.
Dạ.
Okay. That's it. Yeah, it means a lot. Yes. Thank you everybody, and I will, give them that money as quick as possible right after the stream. All right, that's it. Now let's talk about the main topic today, which is about the very exciting part about what did Ho Chi Minh say about the American Revolution. All right. History of the American Revolution. What is America's history? Before the 19th century, America was unknown to the rest of the world. Wait a minute. What is America's history? Before the 14th century, America was unknown to the rest of the world. In 1492, a merchant named Christopher Columbus wanted to sail to India but got lost and was lucky to meet the Native Americans. The people of that land were redskins, quote unquote, and they preferred to hunt rather than settle and trade. Ever since Columbus found America, people from other European countries came over to settle. It is so sad, so angry. White people wanted to enslave the redskins, but they refused to submit. So whites killed them. And then they took the blacks of Africa to America to work for them. Many Europeans came to the United States, but the largest were the British, 3 million people. So Britain conquered America as a colony. Why was there an American Revolution? America is a very rich in agricultural land, iron, coal, cotton, rice, cattle, and other resources. The English secretly wanted it all for themselves, so they promulgated the following 3 rules. First, the Americans must always give their resources to the English. They were not allowed to sell them to other nations. Second, the Americans were not permitted to set up factories or trading associations. Number 3, other countries were not permitted to trade with America. Only the English could trade. These 3 laws, which also added heavy taxes and duties, depressed the American economy. The laws angered the Americans, so they decided to boycott the English in 1770. How was the movement? The boycott movement against the English government lasted for 5 years. The English brought soldiers to suppress the uprising and arrest its leaders for their crimes. Every time the English imposed one of their appointees, the people became angrier. In 1775, when the English army imposed a number of their officers upon the Americans as well, the people pulled together to fight. And when the English army killed 9 people, it was like a flame falling into gunpowder. The people were so angry that, live or die, they were determined to get rid of the English government. A year later, on 4th July 1776, the revolution took place, and America declared its independence and became a republic. Now the United States has 48 states and 110 million people. Now it's 130 million people, 3 times bigger. What is the significance? And they have 50 states, right?
The USA?
Mm-hmm.
Now they do. They didn't when he was writing that.
Yeah, I know. It's just an update of numbers now. You have 50 states, of 2 more colonies were added into this list, and with 330 million people. Next, what is the significance of the American Revolution for the Vietnamese Revolution? First, the French policy toward Vietnam today is more shameful than English policy was toward America because France has grabbed all of our wealth and has imposed restrictions on our people. They forced us to smoke opium and drink liquor. The English were only fond of American money. The French wanted money, but they also wanted to do away with our race, leaving Vietnam bereft. It is high time for the Vietnamese people to study how the American people made a revolution. Second, in America's Declaration of Independence, there are these lines. Under heaven, all people are created equal and are endowed with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government. But now, this is important. But now, the American government does not want anyone to speak about revolution or have anyone threaten the government. This is important line right here. Now the American government doesn't want anybody to have a revolution. Although the American Revolution was successful more than 150 years ago, American workers and peasants are still mired in poverty and thinking about a second revolution because the American Revolution was a revolution of the capitalist. The capitalist revolution cannot be our revolution. We would lay down our lives for the revolution, but to make a complete or world revolution, we must work in such a way that as to deliver rights for all people rather than for a few. Only after many sacrifices could our people have a happy outcome. The bourgeois revolution in French. Now, this is about the French already, but yes, this is what Ho Chi Minh talked about the American revolution. Why it is actually capitalist. On the one hand, it has something that we should learn about, like this, because yes, the settlers in the United States, in America at that time, they rose up because of all the horrible policy that British Empire imposed on them. But now in Vietnam, the French, they impose even more shameful policy. So obviously, of course, Vietnamese people must rise up and fight against, the existence of the French colonialist government in Vietnam. And there was something the Vietnamese people must learn and should learn from the American Revolution. But it doesn't mean that we worship. It doesn't mean that we worship or think that the American Revolution is somehow perfect or inherently good for the working class, because it is a revolution of the capitalists, of the bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie, because they were oppressed by the royal family, by the noble class in Britain, in Great Britain. That was why they rose up. They had a revolution, and that is just revolution for themselves, not for indigenous people, not for the black, American African people. It was revolution for settlers, for white people. That's what we have to keep in mind. All right, everybody, we have about 30 minutes left. We can go to the Q&A section. You can ask me questions. I try to answer them. And yes, we can talk about more topics that are related to this American Revolution, especially today is the 4th of July Revolution Day, Remembrance Day. But yeah, that is what we should keep in mind, that it is a capitalist revolution. It is a bourgeois revolution only for rich white people who didn't want their wealth to be taken by the royal and the noble class in Britain. And on the same time, they still oppressed, murder, genocide Native Americans. They still brought Black people from Africa and enslaved them in the USA. And even to this day, Black Americans still got treated as a second-class citizen. That's racism is still inherent in the system of the USA. And I'm talking about here that this is the biggest problem I saw, the false consciousness, especially among liberals or conservative in the USA, that they treat racism as somehow just like a personal responsibility. So even like if you personally are not racist anymore, then there will be no racism in the USA. They do not understand that racism is a systemic problem. Racism is like imposed in the system already. It is the system that racist. It doesn't matter if you as an individual are racist or not. When we non-white people talk about racism, we're talking about a systemic problem. Hey, I got rated. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. Is that $27? Thank you so much. Hey, hello. Welcome, Raiders. Hi. Okay. Since we just got rated. Let me introduce me and also the topic of the stream and what we are talking about. I am Luna. I am a Vietnamese communist born and living in Vietnam. And today is the 4th of July, the day that you commemorate the American Revolution. And it is the day that I just read a book called The Revolutionary Path by Chi Minh. And this is how Chi Minh talked about the American Revolution.
I like how you made it sound like this is a historic day because you're reading this book.
Yes.
This is a day that will be remembered.
This is the day that will be remembered.
It's also the day we just raised like $300 for the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union.
Yeah, the total is $1,350. Actually, I told them the wrong number. It was $100 more. I have to call them back again. But anyway, after the stream, they will be even way more happy. Haha. All right, everybody. Yes, and long story short, I will give you a brief summary of what Ho Chi Minh talked about American Revolution. The American Revolution. Let's just read it again because first of all, there are like 50 people just joined us and they're like all totally new for them. Let's just read this part. It is very interesting. This is a Ho Chi Minh's perspective about American Revolution. And this is usually opposite to what is being told in the USA. History of the American Revolution written by Ho Chi Minh, 1927. 1927, nearly 100 years ago, this is what he wrote about the American Revolution. First, what is America's history? Before the 14th century, America was unknown to the rest of the world. In 1492, a merchant named Christopher Columbus, I hate this guy, wanted to sail to India but got lost and was lucky to meet the Native Americans. Lucky for them, not the Native Americans. The people of that land was redskins, and they were preferred to hunt rather than settle and trade. Ever since Columbus found America, people from other European countries came over to settle. White people wanted to enslave the redskins, but they refused to submit. So whites killed them. And then they took the blacks of Africa to America to work for them. How horrible, how evil you must be when you come to a totally beautiful piece of land, people so innocent and naive and so welcoming. And then Christopher Columbus wrote it in his personal diary that these people, the Redskins, the Native American, would be good slaves. How horrible you must be to believe, to think that in your head. You come to a new, open, beautiful land. People will welcoming you, giving you goods and foods, and have a ceremony to welcome you. And then you think in your head that these one would make good fucking slaves. How evil you must be, Christopher Columbus. Not only that, after the Native Americans knew about the true nature of these new settlers, newcomer, they refused to submit and they fought back because, of course, this is a land they've been living for thousands of years in harmony. And then so suddenly some fucking white people came to their homeland and killed their people, raped their women, and took away their food, and dig up their land and steal all the thing under it, and destroy the nature. Not only that, after that, when they even brought black people from a whole entire different continent to enslave them, to turn them into slaves. The amount of hypocrisy, the injustice. I cannot express how disgusted I am right now at this piece of truth about the history of America. They conquer, they slaughter, they genocide millions of indigenous people. And then they brought tens of other millions to generations of black people to go there to work for them so they can extract wealth. Many Europeans came to the United States, but the largest were the British, 3 million people. So Britain conquered America as a colony. Why was there an American Revolution? America is a very rich in agricultural land, iron, coal, cotton, rice, cattle, and other resources. The English secretly wanted it all for themselves, so they promulgated the following 3 rules. First, Americans must always give their resources to the English. They were not allowed to sell them to other nations. 2, the Americans were not permitted to set up factories or trading associations. 3, other countries were not permitted to trade with America. Only the English could trade. These 3 laws, which also added heavy taxes and duties, depressed the American economy. The laws angered the Americans, so they decided to boycott the English in 1770. Now, number 3. How was the movement? The boycott movement against the English government lasted for 5 years. The English brought soldiers to suppress the uprising and arrest its leaders for their crimes. Every time the English imposed one of their appointees, the people became angrier. In 1975, when the English army imposed a number of their officers upon the Americans as well, the people pulled together to fight, and when the English army killed 9 people, it was like a flame falling into gunpowder. The people were so angry that live or die, they were determined to get rid of the English government. A year later, on the 4th of July 1776, the revolution took place, and America declared its independence and became a republic. Now the United States has 48 states and 110 million people. Today it is 50 states and 330 million people. Now, what is the significance of the American Revolution for the Vietnamese Revolution? I want to skip this first paragraph and I read the number 2 right now. In America's Declaration of Independence, there are these lines. under heaven, all people are created equal and are endowed with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government. But now, the American government does not want anyone to speak about revolution or have anyone threaten the government. America right now is literally doing everything they could against their own constitution, the constitution that they themselves act like the words of God that could never be changed, could never be, altered to a new one or could never be fought against. They are doing everything with all of their military and police force to stop American people from rising up and alter this broken government. Also, although the American Revolution was successful more than 150 years ago, American workers and peasants are still mired in poverty and thinking about a second revolution because the American Revolution was a revolution of the capitalist. The capitalist revolution cannot be our revolution. We would lay down our lives for the revolution, but to make a complete or world revolution, we must work in such a way as to deliver rights for all people rather than for a few. Only after many sacrifices could our people have a happy outcome. So, as you can see, yes, the American Revolution was revolution for the bourgeoisie. America was a revolution for white settlers, fought against royal and noble class of Britain. It was not revolution of the true working class of the Native Americans, of Black American. It is not. It is not our revolution. And the government right now that is existing right now in America, it is a bourgeois government with a bourgeois democracy to maintain the status quo, to make sure the controlling role of the capitalist class over the rest of society. Indigenous people still being mistreated, Black people still being murdered, and racism is inherent in that system. Racism is a systemic problem, and we need a systemic solution for it. Racism, not like what liberals or conservatives think. Racism is a systemic problem. I don't care because it doesn't mean anything if you as an individual are racist. We are not talking about it. We're talking about a systemic problem where the system is racist. It is a system built by white people, the founding fathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. Am I right? The founding fathers, literally white settlers, slave owners, had a revolution for themselves, built a government for themselves, and their constitution is just hollow words. They said that, life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, but for who? Who can live? Who can have a liberty? Who can pursue happiness? It is white settlers, not indigenous people, not Black Africans, who were brought here against their own will, away from their home country, away from their beloved family members, to go here and be slaves for those white settlers. These words of the Constitution rings out in hollow. Those liars. Yeah. Destiny, like the manifesto. literally those slave owners, and now they worship those slave owners. George Washington, he had an actual slave teeth that they took it out from one of his slaves when that slave was alive. They just took that teeth out and put it in the George Washington's mouth. And then they were bold enough to lie about it and say that it's a wooden teeth. He never smiled because he had a wooden teeth, so it didn't look good. It was freaking slave teeth that were taken away from that person when they were alive. All right? Yeah. And then they took the sacred mountain of indigenous people, the Lakota mountain, and they put statue of those founding fathers onto them. It is it is an insult. I'm checking the chat right now. The mercantile rule to only trade with Britain was an issue. The rich started with their contempt for being blocked from going west to expand slavery plantation into the Ohio Valley by the crown. Yeah, it is. I mean, they did a revolution. But it's not the revolution that we, the working class people, should look at it and worship it. Not like those, MAGA communists being, talking about how great founding George Washington was Ho Chi Minh of the USA, or how, the American Revolution was the beacon of the working class, and how we should just look up for it and, worship it. And then it was the revolution of the capitalist class. End of the day, period. Oh yeah, did you know that the Nazi Germany, they took America as their model? The reservation of indigenous people, they took that as the model for their concentration camps. I'm checking the chat right now. We have about 20 minutes left. Columbus committed acts of genocide against the Taino people of Caribbean. A human rights criminal. Of course, the Catholic Church was right alongside him, telling him, "Do your thing, Columbus." The more I learn about this guy, the more disgusted I am. US students usually got the American exceptionalist versions of the revolution. Yes, it is, I usually call the education system in the US the indoctrination system, where, you got taught a very whitewashed version of the history of America, when you just they cherry picked, the points that they can turn it into something to make America looks great. They cherry pick those and they hide all the rest of information away from you. That was why, even in this book that I just wrote, Ho Chi Minh said, yes, the American Revolution has something that Vietnamese people should learn from. Like this, the French policy toward Vietnam today is more shameful than English policy was toward America, because France has grabbed all our wealth and has imposed restrictions on our people. They forced us to smoke opium and drink liquor. The English were only fond of American money. The French wanted money, but they also wanted to do away with our race, leaving Vietnam bereft. It is high time for the Vietnamese people to study how the American people made a revolution. See, Ho Chi Minh acknowledged that, yes, there is something to learn from this. But we should not, take this as, the revolution and working class or anything other than that. It's just a capitalist revolution. We should learn about how they did it, how it succeeded, and learn from the lesson. But do not think that this is the end goal, because there is still an, objective need for a second revolution in the USA. The revolution of the working class, of the oppressed class against the capitalist class. Oh, this is funny. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Family Conrad. Don't bring our alcohol to compare with those devils. We don't, but that's what they do. Hollywood is a propaganda machine. Yeah, absolutely. Look how much, I posted a memo a long time ago. But I mean, it's a meme, but it's also true that America is a country where they send their troops to other countries and murder and genocide other people, and then they would go back, and then their Hollywood would make movies about how sad the US soldiers were when they commit genocide. They don't care about the perspective of their victims. Is there any good Hollywood movie talking about how horrible the life of Vietnamese people and how evil the US troops were? But no, it's mostly about how depressed, how sad, how destructive the US troops were when they had to go and kill other people in different countries. Oh, sad. So what? Do we have I mean, excuse me, do we really have to really like be on their side and feel sorry for them? Um, what was the document that I was reading from? It is a book called The Revolutionary Path, written by Ho Chi Minh in 1927, and it is translated by Vijay Prashad and his team. You can easily check it out on the internet. There's the ebook version of it, just Revolutionary Path by Ho Chi Minh, translated by Vijay Prashad and his team. That's it. Silver's book calls the American education system the Emperor Palpatine Stormtrooper Training Facility. Because we are trained to be stormtroopers for the US Empire. I mean, yes. Yes, you know, when you are cloned, you all just clones. And you were educated to fight for the Empire, you know, to run the Death Star, fight for the Empire. You're all just like clones. And so it's the same thing, like it's at the same time. They taught them to believe that you are a free thinker. That is really funny. You are the free thinker, and we are the one who like brainwashed by our authoritarian government. Blah blah blah. They are only like know better. They're free thinkers. They are like they don't have there's no indoctrination or propaganda in their country. It's just like okay, whenever anyone who like somehow like encounter me and talk about like there's no indoctrination and you say the system the truth, like I just ask them about, oh, can you tell me the story about Thanksgiving, why you do Thanksgiving? Yes, this is literally it. Start from Thanksgiving. There you go. Hitler consulted experts in eugenics from America and sent lawyers to the US to study Jim Crow and used that knowledge to model the Nuremberg laws and eventually the Holocaust. Yes, and also at the same time, not just Germany, but also, like the Unit 731. Am I right? The Unit 731. It is a unit of Japanese scientists and doctors who literally did, research and experiment bioweapons on their prisoner of war. They did a lot of experiment, and after the Empire of Japan was defeated, just only very few scientists and doctors in this unit were brought to light and brought to the international court. Most of them were assigned sanction in the USA, the sanctuary in the USA, and they, just like with the chair, like they gave the USA government all the documents of their research, study of their research, and they work for the US government. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong that like one of the NASA director or like high-ranking leader of NASA actually used to be high-ranking member of the Nazi Germany? Am I right? There are many other more too, but that's what I could recall it from the top of my head. Oh, and by the way, we're talking a lot about America today, but do not forget Canada. Canada also the same thing. Canada is, even to this day, there are a lot of indigenous women who had disappeared in Canada. And it was just a few years ago, something the last year, something they just found a mass grave of indigenous people that they was murdered by settlers in Canada. Same thing with Australia. Those are the lands of indigenous people. And the settlers just came there, took everything, murder, genocided those people, and claimed that land to be themselves. So as I remember, the population of Native America before the USA came around that time was around 115 million people. Just that, like over 100 million, but more than the population of Vietnam today, 115 million people. But right now, the population is just 3 million. I could be wrong, but like it's a very small number of that. So more than 90% of the population was genocide by the USA. Hawaii, since we mentioned Silver Spoon before, Hawaii is also still illegally occupied by the USA against their own will, against their own treaty. Hawaii and the government of the USA at that time had a treaty. The USA broke all the treaties and illegally occupied Hawaii, even to this day. And they were Hawaiian people were not allowed to speak their own language and practice their own culture. Children in school was expelled and punished for speaking their own language. It's sad. The Canada Day was July 1st. I didn't know that. So yeah, they deserve to be critiqued right now too. I mean, yeah. Canada is just diet America. I mean, usually we forget about Canada when you talk about imperialism, but they very much like on the same hand, like the same side of two different sides of a coin of imperialism. Yeah, Ishii was the head of the bioweapons unit in Japan. Died living in Japanese pension. 1956. Yeah. Okay, we have about 15 minutes left. Do you have any question for me? Check in the chat right now. We still had cotton slave plantations in World War II, and we even sent Nazi prisoner of war to these cotton plantations. When interviewed, the Nazis said they would treat that we treat black folks worse than we treat them. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's white supremacy all the way down. Yes. Canada is America number 2, but not as critical as often as it should, like America is. I mean, I agree with you. So same as Australia. Nobody talk enough about Australia. Australia is like absolutely a lapdog of the USA. Oh my goodness! Let's look at the AUKUS that was just formed. The trilateral defend the group or something like that with like the US, UK, and Australia AUKUS. By the way, the name is awful. Yep, and it was like the front to fight against the rise of global South countries. Because like BRICS is getting stronger and stronger, and the rest of the world is swaying away from the US dollars, and the USA is losing its dominant role in the globe. That was why those long time imperialist country and the lapdogs just got together. NATO is also being weakened. That was why we got AUKUS. Australia is America number 3. Everything being said of Canada is true. Hawaii was stolen in 1898. Yes. AUKUS is just another organization to surround global south. How do you feel about BRICS? I mean, we generally speaking, we don't have any bad feelings about BRICS. It is good. We say it is good because, like Vietnam, we are advocating for a maritime polar world. It means that where there is the end of the dominance of the USA, and all the other countries have an equal right, equal saying in the world, and BRICS is still really early to talk about it, but for now, based on what we know of, BRICS is the biggest threat against your dominance of the USA, of NATO, and newly AUKUS. So yes, it's kind of something like, yes, it is a sign saying that the world is awakened, and we are getting stronger and stronger, and USA getting weaker and weaker, to the point that we are open about we don't need the USA, we don't want the USA, and we join together, and it can't really become a big threat to the USA. So yeah, BRICS. Yes. Will BRICS free Cuba and the USSR and the TPK from blockade? I hope so. I really hope so. The only reason why the USA can still be able to sanction Cuba and North Korea to this day is because their dominance in the petrodollar, and the dominance in weapons and powers and military base. So like literally, like the rest of the world, remember the United Nations for God knows how many years. Every year we vote to end the sanction on Cuba, and nearly every single year, mostly all of the 184 countries voted to end the sanction of Cuba, except the USA and its few of its lapdogs. And yeah, the vast majority of the world wanted to end the sanctions. But the only reason why we couldn't end it yet, because the USA still maintained as the biggest bullier of the world that controlled the petrodollar, oil reservation, and powerful weapons and military bases literally all over the world. Over 800 military bases of the US located all around the world. That is what we know of. Not the exact number yet. It's just around more than 800 military bases in that situation.
Jen,
Yes.
you wanted me to remind you that we got a lot to do today, so.
Yeah, I know. But I also was a little bit late.
Hey, I'm just saying you told me to tell you.
I know. Do you think there will be an economic war between AUKUS and BRICS? I feel like there are signs that it might be the case. It might already happen.
Wait, what was the question?
Economic war between AUKUS and BRICS.
Oh,
that already happened. It's been going on.
100%.
Been done going on.
100%.
Oh.
But the thing about it is, AUKUS is like, I think that's kind of it's more like BRICS versus the USA imperial machinery. There's not even a name. There's not even a name for the USA's imperial network because it's so big and so ubiquitous and so universal, and it's unofficial. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like they don't. The USA doesn't want people to think of the USA as controlling so much of that machinery, so they don't put a name to it. But they have many forms that it takes: AUKUS, NATO, G8. G20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They control all these different. Oh, and then there's like the World Bank, the IMF, all these different things. Remember when the USA tried to? This was years ago, but the USA tried to go in and exert more influence on ASEAN, and they failed. Do you remember that? What was that, like 10 years ago or something?
Something like that, yeah.
But they want to control everything. They want to control it all. They want to control the UN.
Mm-hmm. USA plus its vassal states.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
the USA plus.
Well, the USA plus its vassal states plus the states that it just completely bullies and dominates.
Yeah. Like, Guam,
Yeah.
Hawaii, Philippines.
As things go on, though, I think the way it'll break. This is a total. I'm. Hi everyone, I'm EJ. We're in overtime now, so I
Yes.
feel like I can talk again.
Yes.
I think that eventually there will be a quality shift where BRICS will release their currency,
Mm-hmm.
and then EJ appears. A while EJ appears. So when BRICS releases their currency, which I kind of hope they do, we'll call it whatever, the BRICS unit, the BRICS currency, whatever. Do they have a name for it yet? Does the chat know? Anyway,
Not yet. I don't think so. I could be wrong though.
BRICS bucks.
Oh, BRICS bucks. Okay.
So, once the BRICS bucks get released, come to the screen. I need a chair.
You need a chair. Here.
This is fine. Okay, that's good. I don't really feel the need to be on the screen. Okay, but anyway, once the BRICS bucks get released, right, then the way we will start thinking about it is BRICS bucks versus dollar.
Maybe they could call it BRICS. It's just BRICS. One BRICS.
One brick.
One brick. Two bricks. 3 bricks. 1,000 bricks.
I like that. Yeah. But once the BRICS with an X, it has to be with an X though.
The
BRICS.
No, it's bricks.
Yeah. The brick coins. No.
No.
Okay. Anyway. My point is this, Luna. This is the point I've been trying to make. It's gonna break down to brick versus dollar.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be a huge war and issue over whether you predominantly use brick currency or US dollar as your international currency. And I think that it's going to be interesting. Some countries are going to try to play it safe and use both and maybe balance it out. And then some of them are going to go full bricks and some of them are going to try to maintain the dollar hegemony. But as the dollar hegemony weakens, it's going to have a lot of destabilizing effects. The USA is not going to take that lying down. These are my predictions. I don't know what I could be totally fucking wrong, but it seems to me like it's going to lead to a lot of problems because the USA is going to start getting more and more. They're going to panic and they're going to start getting more desperate, right?
Yes.
Which they're already starting to do.
Yes.
And I think that's going to lead to like a new wave of maybe harsher and more overt intervention, right? That's what it feels like. And now Vietnam has a very interesting and unique sort of position here because Vietnam has this position of not siding with any country against other countries. And I'm curious. I have no clue. This is one place where I have no prediction. I don't know. Is Vietnam eventually going to join BRIC? That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Because it could be. I think they're going to wait and see. Probably the foreign department, the foreign ministry. They're probably going to wait and see how things go with BRICS Plus.
Exactly.
Because if it turns out that BRICS Plus becomes this like overtly siding against the USA institution, they might be more hesitant to join it.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to appear to be siding against the USA.
Exactly.
And it also depends on what kind of stipulations there are for joining BRICS Plus as it evolves into this larger
We can work
thing.
with BRICS, but not necessarily need to join it.
Yeah.
And
But maybe it won't be. Maybe it won't be so
won't.
explicitly US.
Yeah.
Maybe the US won't. Maybe it'll get big enough fast enough that the US won't be able to really stop it.
So here's the thing too. The main point of why Vietnam had that policy was because of the tension between the USA and China. That's mostly it. Mostly come from the USA.
China and Russia, yeah.
Yeah. The reason why that we had the policy where we do not align with the country against other country was because of the USA. And we do not want to be caught into that,
Now this $27 said like hasn't the US started wars over the petrodollar? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue, and this is like, okay, don't get my words twisted here. Okay. But I would argue that, for instance, the Iraq wars were, I mean, Saddam Hussein, I'm not a fan of Saddam Hussein, but one of the problems that the USA had with Saddam Hussein It wasn't really that they gave a shit about the Iraqi people.
No.
We very rapidly learned that the USA does not value Iraqi lives during the war.
Mm-hmm.
But Saddam Hussein was trying to break off of the U.S. petrodollar hegemony and was starting to challenge it. And that's a big reason why the USA started to care. Now, notice that there are lots of shitty dictatorial regimes all over the world. The USA doesn't invade all of them militarily. Yeah, Iraq and Libya as well. Yeah, good. Yes, agree. There are all kinds of really bad regimes all over the world. The USA only chooses to like militarily invade on the scale of Iraq very infrequently. And I think that the reason that that regime was singled out was not because the USA gave a shit about weapons of mass destruction, which we know didn't exist, or the people of Iraq. Of course, they don't care about the people of Iraq. They murdered millions of Iraqi people, not, unironically. And so the reason that they singled out Saddam Hussein, I think, is because Saddam Hussein was challenging the petrodollar hegemony.
Yes.
I mean, that's my relatively uninformed take, but I think that it's pretty obvious, why invade that shitty dictatorial regime's country and not the dozens of others out there. Empire has no. Ooh, that's a good one. Put that one up.
Yeah.
Empire has no friends, only interests.
Exactly. They have no friends. I mean, Vietnam did Markley say about this a while ago. You know that. And I think that the president of Vietnam went to, somehow they met the president of USA a few years ago, and talking about how the USA wanted to raise, different status of our relationship. And we say like, no, actually we said no. Said like, well, real Vietnamese, we do have, have friends and good friends relationship with each other. Maybe the USA should try the same thing.
Yeah.
You try to have some fucking friends instead of having fucking like servants.
USA supports most dictatorships. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
And then this point, I'm not going to argue. I mean, I really don't have I'm not informed enough to get too deep into this conversation, but I mean, I'm sure I know that there were lies about Saddam Hussein.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I haven't seen anything that makes me think Saddam was a comrade. But anyway, that's well beyond the scope of this conversation.
Yeah.
Too
much nuance.
Yeah, too much nuance, and I don't know enough about it to really have it.
Even Vietnamese, when they talk about Saddam Hussein, we just talk about it very dialectically. They talk about he was a human, he did many things, and detail about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know enough about it. Luna and I do not like to overstate our expertise on things at all.
I am not an expert
neither
on
one
Iraq,
of us
nor
know much about
Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein, to be honest. But anyway, I do know that I do know a few things about the fact that Saddam was trying to stop being led around by the nose as far as oil went. So that's one thing I'm fairly certain of. But
yeah. All right. Okay. I think that's.
Lumpen Line Cook.
Lumpen Lamb Cook.
Put it up.
Lumpen
Good username. Where can comrades in the U.S. send financial aid to our comrades in Vietnam? You just missed an opportunity. Hold on. Let me take this one, Luna.
Oh, take that.
We just had a fundraiser you could have donated if you were a little earlier to the game, but that's okay. We're going to start working more with comrades in Vietnam. We just made some good contacts with a local Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union that does a lot of volunteer activity, and we will have fundraisers again in the future. You can follow Luna here on Twitch, on Luna's YouTube, and currently Luna's on Twitter. Of course, Twitter's a dying platform. But I'll tell you what. Can you follow a Give Butter? Can you just follow it?
Yeah, I don't even
without
know.
donating? I don't know if you can or not. But I guess
I'll follow my Twitter. I'll subscribe to my YouTube, because whenever there's any fundraising campaign like that, I will post it there.
Yeah. Luna will usually make a community update and stuff like that too. Now, beyond that, donating without us, I don't know. Are there any? How about Luna gets back to you next week? We don't really know. I mean, I'm sure that there are ways you could donate to Vietnam, but
you can do. I don't know. But
one thing to know about Vietnam is that they're not typically looking for a lot of individual donations, because there's such a huge apparatus of Communist Party youth unions, women's unions, labor unions,
farmers
unions, and then there's all kinds of other grassroots entities,
and we mostly call for donation from corporations.
Right, But every so often, opportunities like this do come along, and we'll let you know when they do. But
Yes.
like, yeah, I mean, the Vietnam doesn't want to get because there were even issues like during the flooding a few years back. Remember?
Ooh, it was a huge issue. It was
We have to be pretty careful and dialectical.
yeah,
about
because
how-
a lot of people, they use their personal reputation to get the donation, and they took all the money for themselves. So it's like, make them rich that way. I mean,
there was a celebrity, a Vietnamese celebrity, and
yes,
she had a huge campaign for donations, and she raised like
$5 million.
millions of dollars, and then it was like basically at issue of what happened to that money and
And
who
we had to
donated
add a
it.
whole set of whole new set of law.
Yeah.
Deal with that situation.
So the campaigns we're going to be participating in are definitely going to be a lot smaller
Yes.
and limited in scope, and that sort of thing.
And I would be very, careful and detailed about, how much I get home, and I give all of that to the group, and I have a receipt of all of that, and I will also have a receipt of, the stuff that they bought. Yeah.
If you really
Make it
want to
as
help
clear as
Vietnam,
possible.
one of the best things you could do is dispel misinformation about Vietnam.
Oh,
And if you live in the imperial core, fight and struggle hard to stop your country from imperializing places like Vietnam and destabilizing places like Vietnam. So like in particular from the USA, don't let people spread lies and misinformation about Vietnam, and learn the truth about Vietnam, and work to make sure that, the USA doesn't destabilize Vietnam as they constantly are.
and also, close loophole for corruption. Yes, talk about that, because I mean, it is a good way for, money laundering kind of thing.
Oh, see, that's the thing. Okay, it's hard for it was hard for me to wrap my head around this, because in the USA, one of the main ways that capitalists secure their position is through like donations and charity and shit like that, and that's how they don't pay tax. They get away from not paying taxes. It's how they get like really good reputations.
Their money.
Somebody made this great point that it's like, oh, what was it? It was so well phrased, but it's like capitalists can like steal and do all this terrible shit, and then they make a donation, and everyone acts like they're.
These Vietnamese know exactly what we are talking about, who we are talking about. No. Dear Lou.
But yeah, they steal billions of dollars, and then they get out their checkbook and they write a check for $1 million, and we act like they're saints.
Exactly.
Because they returned a teeny tiny bit of what they've stolen. Like it's really disgusting.
Yes.
But,
it makes them like, it makes us like worship individual instead of the effort of the whole group, and it's not good.
So hold on, I'm gonna find your tweet thread about that. The Vietnamese love capitalism.
Oh my gosh!
Because somebody asked indirectly about that. Hold on.
Okay.
What was it? Pew Research.
Yes. Luna ơi,
Vien
Pew Research.
I like how trending in Vietnam it's just the word fuck on Twitter.
So where people say fuck and hashtag it.
It says trending in Vietnam. Fuck. All right.
Oh my god.
Hold on. Because somebody. Okay, hold on. I think this is a good maybe point to leave on.
Mm-hmm.
So this person said it's a fair question.
Yeah.
When I search about Vietnam, the people only talk about why Vietnam is capitalist and how it left communism. They talk to locals and they also say similar stuff. So first of all, we have talked before many times about what we call the survivor effect, or the anyway, the fact of the matter is survivor bias. Survivor bias. Whenever you go to Vietnam and you go to like an expat area where there's lots and lots of mostly privileged Vietnamese people hanging out that speak English and want to hang out with expats who are. Even
I do not want to hang out with expats, by the way. I speak good English.
You're going to get more of a liberal or three-stripe fascist perspective. Most Vietnamese communists don't speak English.
Yeah, so it usually here's like a few reasons for it. First of all, vast majority Vietnamese communists do not want to hang out with expats because we have a stereotype of most of the white expats are very reactionary, and we do not want to expose ourselves to their, bigotry. The second is that like Vietnamese people who can speak English and can't talk to expats usually do not talk about political stuff. Because again, we also share the same stereotype of them being bigotry, like reactionary, so we don't. You see people who are willing to talk to those people in English and about political stuff are liberals, neoliberals, capitalist lovers who want to dunk on people because they know that, those people who share the same thought. That's why they're very open and vocal about it. So this is why
but all that stuff's anecdotal anyway. So let's talk about this real quick, which is okay, so Luna did this great thread a while back, and it's about this Pew Research thing. So we had this suspicion because this freaking chart gets passed around all over the internet, and it says, "Oh, Vietnamese love the free market system." So we had the suspicion, like, what were they actually asking? Because we only saw, and I looked at all the documentation that Pew Research had in English, and it doesn't tell you anywhere what questions were being asked in the native languages of each country. So what we did is we sent an email to Pew Research asking for the actual data in Vietnamese, that like the questions that were asked in Vietnamese. So Luna requested it. Here's the chart, just so you know. And it says, oh, look, 95% of Vietnamese, the way they put it is support the free market system. And they say that the question said, do you agree or disagree with this statement? This is what they say they asked in English. Most people are better off in a free market economy, even though some people are rich and some are poor. That's what they say they asked in English. Mm-hmm. Now, we asked for the actual question that was asked for the Q13, and this is what they actually asked, okay? And Luna translated it to English.
Vietnamese can write in the chat will confirm this if I translate it wrong or something.
So the actual question was, do you agree with this statement? The people's economic conditions have gotten better under the free market economy, even though they have not become really rich yet. That is not the same.
The choice of the answer is from completely disagree to
completely different. It's completely different. Like that's not the same question at all. They're saying, and it also, by the way, it's like a poison question.
Exactly.
Because they're saying, have your you can't ask. These are two separate questions. The first question is, have your economic conditions gotten better? And the second question is it because of the free market? But they bundle them together. So it's like a really kind of confusing question because, if you have reservations, you can't, what can you say? You can't disagree with the question that's being asked.
In the question, they already assume that the system of economy is a free market system.
Which
there's no choice of us to say no about that.
Yeah.
It's to say under the market system, the life of government, you agree or not. So they are totally trick question, just like a trick question, when did you stop beating your wife?
Yeah, and it didn't say
yes or no.
It definitely did not say this.
Yeah.
That most people are better off in a free market economy. They said, have your lives gotten better?
Yeah.
That's what they were really asking.
That's the real question here.
It's not just a loaded question, it's a completely misleading question altogether. And then not only was the question bad, but then when they translated to English, they translated it as something completely different. So anyway, this is the kind of bullshit you're going to see all over the place. Yeah. Now, how do you fight against this was the question. How do you...
Kind of like this comment from a Vietnamese comrade.
This one right here? Oh shit. Free market is BS. Right. Well, and by the way, Vietnam does not describe itself as having a free market.
Yeah, no.
They call it a socialist-oriented market economy. And if you want to know more about that, Luna's done. Go back and watch Luna's older streams.
Yes.
I don't want to speak too deep about politics and Westerners. I just talk about food a lot. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Do you have a YouTube channel, Fund Me? Or something like that? But awesome. I was going to say that, Luna's got comrades that are Vietnamese, like Let's Talk Vietnam and
Me, and then Kenny Tingo and lots of other people too.
There's lots of cool Vietnamese comrades out there. If you follow Luna on Twitter, you'll see them pop up. There's No Law Collective that Luna's a part of.
As I said in last broadcast, free market is a myth. There is never, and there will be never a true free market. Not even in the USA.
Of course.
Free market doesn't exist.
The market's not free. It's completely
protectionism is so strong in the USA. And I talk about it with a podcast with Josh. But anyway, the point is that there is no free market because even in the USA, the country with the most free market, which most of you are so proud of, the protectionism in the USA is extremely high. For example, when Vietnam export honey to the USA, our honey is very affordable. But when we export it to the USA, they put a 500% tax on our honey. The point is that so they can protect the honey coming from their domestic company.
But domestically, it's not free either. You got to be clear about that.
Yeah,
because
domestic is not
because-
free either. Yeah.
there's so much lobbying and legislation
Mhm.
and all kinds of shit going on that means that the billionaires have a massive advantage. It's not like you could just go
Mhm.
start a small business
Mhm.
and succeed. It's not. I mean, like the chances of small businesses failing is massive. The main reason most
The
businesses
bailout
fail.
for rich the companies.
Oh yeah, the
yeah.
bailouts, the god, like over.
If
Okay,
it's so free, so I just don't let them die.
no,
Why
like
do I
during
have to give the money?
COVID, they had this program where it's like, okay, we're going to give you money for you to give to your employees as salary.
Mhm.
It's like a free money for companies, and then they did they followed up on it later. There was no like mechanism to make sure that they were spending that money on their employees.
You know why it's invisible? Because it doesn't fucking exist.
But they said they were spending it on employees, and then they looked at it later, and they were spending it on like trucks and boats and stuff.
Oh my God, there's a Vietnamese comrade asking me to talk about the war crimes that USA did in the Vietnam War and about, its, effect in Vietnam even 50 years after. Is that the American human rights? Đúng rồi, mình cũng nói rất là nhiều về vấn đề này. Mình nói hàng năm trời luôn đấy, gần như là tuần nào mình nói là mấy tội ác chiến tranh của Mỹ luôn đấy. cảm ơn bạn nhưng là đã cho mình ý kiến, nhưng mà đúng là mình đồng ý với bạn luôn. Đó là mình cần phải nói nhiều hơn về những cái tội ác mà quân đội Mỹ đã gây ra cho người dân Việt Nam trong suốt gần 20 năm chiến tranh.
What are you gonna do more?
And we'll talk
about
more.
it more. I thought that's what you said. Okay, I understood about 5% of that. We will talk about that more.
Yeah, I'm so hungry now.
Yeah, Luna's hungry.
And we are way over time.
So
thank you so much, everybody.
I hope you've enjoyed this historical
for
day.
donating the volunteer group, and it means a lot. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you next time. Oh, wait a minute. Let me check. Still, just in case you not donate through the Give Butter, but normal stream elements, just to make sure, because I don't want to miss anything. Last week I did not actually miss, but somebody.
Are you in my browser or your browser?
My browser. Somebody donated after I finished the stream, so I couldn't say thank you. And this time I will send my thank. Wait a minute. Why can't I go to la. You know what? I can't log in. Because it's a new browser, so it suspect me. I am suspicious.
Try it in the white computer?
Yes, please.
We'll talk about something for a few seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, you just gave me a muffin fighter. I mean, I like your name, Muffin Fighter.
Why do you hate muffins?
No, I like that name, Muffin.
No, why do you want to fight a muffin?
No, they are a muffin and they are a fighter. They don't know. They fight for muffin. They fight for muffin.
For muffins, or are they fighting against muffins? I think it's a very important distinction. Are they fighting for my right to muffin?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you use YouTube or Twitch, right? For YouTube for
YouTube.
You have to fight for your right.
For your muffin. For your muffin.
You've never heard that song before, I guess.
Mango. You need to learn Vietnamese. It is a challenge for you. It's gonna be fun. Vietnamese language is a very totally, absolutely different language compared to the USA. It's different in every single aspect of it. Grammar is opposite. We put a subject and then objective, not the other way around. The noun and then the objective. Cây xanh, the noun and then the adjective. So like we call like a green tree. We call it like cây xanh, tree green. The grammar is opposite. The language is also opposite because we have a tone, 6 tones. You have no tones, and also we are a single syllable kind of language. These are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like one word, one syllable. But this is totally different. So it's gonna be a challenge for you, but it's gonna be fun learning it.
According to this, you have no stream activity.
Good. All right. Oh my gosh. Oh, this Vietnamese come out sound like they've been watching me for a very, very, very long time, but they haven't missed any video of mine. And wish we all have a good heart for Vietnam, and wish help the people from outside of Vietnam know more about our country. Vietnamese communism is not bad at all. Cảm ơn bạn nhá, mình rất là vui tại vì là thực sự là cái chia sẻ của bạn thì rất là có nhiều ý nghĩa với mình, vì mình làm cái này rất là lâu và mình nhận được rất là nhiều những cái tấn công từ bên ngoài, từ những cái đấy, những cái bạn biết là những người
Đúng rồi.
Tấn công rất là nhiều.
Đúng rồi.
Mình rất là vui, mình thực sự rất vui khi mà nhận được cái sự giúp cái sự chào đón của bên bạn và lời đến bạn. Thực ra là mình ở Việt Nam thì mình nói tiếng Việt rất là nhiều, mỗi tội là tại vì mình stream bằng tiếng Anh lâu quá rồi, cho nên là khi mà nói sang tiếng Việt thì mình hay bị lẫn, nhưng mà mình cố gắng để mình nói tiếng Việt, tại vì là rất là mình ở Việt Nam mà, thì rất là mất khoảng vài giây để mình chuyển mode sang tiếng Việt cho nó chuẩn tiếng Việt.
Liz is gonna do the whole stream over again in Vietnamese now.
Yes. From now on, I will have a whole stream in Vietnamese and you gonna translate that.
Oh my gosh. I better start my classes again soon.
Cảm ơn mọi người. Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã theo dõi stream nhá. Và cảm ơn vì đã ủng hộ cho cái chiến dịch kêu gọi cho những bạn tình nguyện trên Trà My, Quảng Nam. Thank you so much everybody for being in the stream, for donating to help the volunteer group in Trà My, Quảng Nam province. It means a lot, and right now I'm gonna tell them the final number so they can be happy and I can transfer money to them. And don't worry, we will have all the receipts for you to prove that we actually did it, and and we're gonna have a video about that too.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Okay. Bye everybody. Love you and see you next week. Chào mọi người nha.